How you all doing? Good, cool. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. This is our talk about AI, NFTs, and oh, that's down there. Sorry. This is the Bandcamp Breakdown Indie Week 2023 special. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it very much. My name is Andrew Jervis. I oversee the artists and labels team at Bandcamp. This is Joe Keys. Joe makes everything happen at the Bandcamp Daily, our editorial arm. And this is our friend Bert, who is sort of hybrid, part EpicGames, part Bandcamp, but he's not AI, he's really here. We have other Bandcamp folks in the crowd too. Amit on my team, artists and labels team right here. We've got Dan, who helps build products at Bandcamp, and Ethan, who thought of Bandcamp. The whole thing is his fault. So what we're going to do is a quick presentation, 30-minute presentation, and then there should be 15 minutes at the end if you want to come say hi, ask us questions, give us your suggestions of how Bandcamp can be better, whatever you want to do. We're going to do that instead of an open Q&A. We'll have a little come meet us time, and if by chance there are too many of you and not enough of us and not enough minutes left on the clock, my email address, it's easy, it's andrew@bandcamp.com, and Amit, also AMIT, at bandcamp.com. You can reach out to us anytime. We are more than happy to set up a call, talk about Bandcamp with you, look at your album campaigns, talk to you about how you can use Bandcamp and bring you up to date on all the latest features at any time you like. So we today are going to be talking about some of the latest stats about how and who is using Bandcamp, what are they buying, all that kind of stuff. We've got news on brand new tools, some in fact have gone live today, some that are about to go live, and some that will be live by the end of the year. Joe is going to talk about the most popular features on the Bandcamp Daily and how you might go about pitching for those. And Bert is going to talk about all the opportunities opening up for the independent music community, thanks to our blossoming relationship with EpicGames. So, in case you were here for the AI NFT talk and now you've realized this sounds way better, and you don't know what Bandcamp is, we are an online record store and music community where passionate fans discover, connect with, and directly support the artists that they love. They have done so to the tune of about $1.13 billion so far on Bandcamp, and they buy about 75,000 records every single day. In the past year, in fact, they have bought 14.4 million digital albums, 9.5 million tracks, 1.75 million records, and a boatload of CDs, cassettes, t-shirts, slip mats, you name it, it gets sold on Bandcamp. In fact, about half of what's sold on Bandcamp is physical, the other half being digital, of course, but we are far from just a download store. In fact, if you are thinking about using Bandcamp or use Bandcamp, know that artists that sell physical goods on Bandcamp make about 10 times more than those who do not. So physical on Bandcamp goes hand in hand, for sure. Now, of course, popularity of Bandcamp has grown hugely the last couple of years, thanks to Bandcamp Fridays, and thanks, unfortunately, to a pandemic where people suddenly realize, oh, wait, I have to support artists and labels. We've done about 26 Bandcamp Fridays so far. If you're not familiar, Bandcamp Friday is usually the first Friday of every month. It's the day when we don't take any revenue share whatsoever, and instead we pass along all of the money that a fan spends on an album to the artist and label on the other end. So across 26, 27 of those, fans have sent artists and labels about $106 million. And we are continuing Bandcamp Friday through the rest of this year, except in June, we always do a fundraiser for the NAACP instead. So that takes place on Juneteenth, which is Monday. So have your albums and your wallets ready for Monday. And then July, we don't do one. Our support team is human. After all, they need a little bit of time off. And they return August through the rest of the year. Obviously, Bandcamp Fridays have been extremely popular, but they're not the only days in which people are using Bandcamp. Any day is a good day to have a Bandcamp day. So yeah, for the last 2 years, last few years, couple of amazing bits of growth. And in fact, as far as I can see back, about 100,000 new fans sign up for fan accounts on Bandcamp every month, which means that they sign up, they pick a favorite genre to follow. Bandcamp keeps them in the loop with all their new releases in that genre, and they also start to follow their favorite artists and labels that they discover. And key to Bandcamp, they also start to follow fans whose music taste that they like. There are about 500,000 active monthly fans buying music on the site any given month. And 90% of what's being bought on a daily basis, and I love this stat, is from repeat customers. So clearly what's happening, a lot of people come in, they kick the tires, they buy an album, and they decide, hey, I like this, and they stick around and they continue to buy. We tend to attract those loyal fans that want to buy the entire discography, they want to buy everything the label puts out, they want to stick around and continue to keep buying. They also love the deluxe packages, the purple splattered vinyl and the die-cut sleeve that costs more than anything else. Those are the kinds of things that sell first. And we also know they're a very generous bunch. If you enable the or pay more option, fans will put that to use at least 50% of the time and spend more than the asking price that you've set. So what is it that all of these fans are buying? Well, they're definitely coming to Bandcamp to discover new music, because 70% of what's purchased on Bandcamp on a daily basis is brand new. So that might be useful if you're a label and you're thinking about using Bandcamp for A&R purposes. A lot of great new bands on Bandcamp. Or it might just be that you have a brand new album. Think about it also if you're a label and you have catalog that's not currently on Bandcamp. Introducing old back catalog in a thoughtful way can also have a similar impact. People want stuff that's new to the site. Our top fans, and I swear I did not make this up, spend $666 per year. That is true. And they buy something every 1 to 2 weeks, which includes me, but don't let my wife know about that. It's obviously our community of avid music buying fans that kind of sets us apart from other platforms. Also, obviously the tools that we've built for them to follow and to support and to follow other fans, and for artists and labels to engage with those fans. You don't get this kind of community activity on other D2C platforms or even your own website. So, for instance, if Amit was to buy an album from me, from Andrew.com, from my latest record, and I don't recommend it, Amit would know about that, I would know about it, and maybe I tell my mom, so that's like 3 people. Whereas on Bandcamp, a third of the sales come from the community. It comes from fans turning to other fans and saying, hey, this is really great, you should buy this. So I have about 6,500 fans following me. Anytime I buy a record, those fans get to know about it. We send them out a weekly email. My collection of music that I've bought is public facing, and we have something called the music feed where people discover music too. So that's a third of your potential sales on Bandcamp just from being on the site and engaging with the community. And there's a bunch of simple best practices that we can tell you about. You can see them too if you go to bandcamp.com/guide. That place on the site has a lot of great tips and tricks on how to put Bandcamp to use and how to connect with the fan community. That's bandcamp.com/guide. And again, you can also email Amit, AMIT, at bandcamp.com, or myself, Andrew, at bandcamp.com. Any point, we're happy to walk you through all the latest and greatest and make sure you're making all the right moves and checking all the right boxes to connect with fans. So, all of that being said, what is new at Bandcamp? Well, much like the list of indictments facing our former president, our marketplace has swelled, and it now has over 1.4 million unique physical items in it. So we had to do something about this. That's a lot of items for people to sift through. So we have reworked what our marketplace browsing experience looks like. You'll see the new version on the site soon. Here's a little sort of sneaky peek right here. It's designed really to make looking through, discovering, and following for physical versions of music much easier. So for the first time, you're going to be able to search by soft goods, starting with t-shirts. So if you happen to be a label person, an artist, a product person at a label, or manager, whoever is uploading stuff to Bandcamp, make sure you're taking great photos of your t-shirts from here on that look good as thumbnails, but also blown up if a fan clicks on an image. Also, multiple images are always better. So this redesign of the marketplace is going to elevate the fact that we do have all these physical goods. It's going to make it more obvious to fans. It's going to have a prominent place on the homepage. And hopefully it should make it much easier for fans to, A, continue to find the music they love, but B, also now fall in love with some merch that you're posting too. Playlists. So you may have noticed that we have been spending quite a bit of effort on making fan collections more useful and more valuable. Well, we started last year by making it possible for fans to listen offline, and then we introduced like a light version of playlists called queuing. And then earlier this year, may or may not have seen, but we made it possible for you to make a private playlist. So to make a private playlist basically requires you to have a collection on Bandcamp. It's music that you have actually bought, and then you can obviously make a playlist or any number of playlists that you want out of that. Now, since we launched this in February, fans have made over 100,000 playlists, and the cool stat to come out of this is the people making playlists have spent 40% more by this time this year than they did last year. So obviously our version of playlists is a little bit different than the passive version of playlists that's out there. It's designed to get people to buy more, and useful at the moment for people with big collections who want to organize their collections in different ways, but also hopefully useful too for people who are just starting out on Bandcamp, and we want them to nurture and grow a collection too. By the end of the year, we want to make it possible for people to make public-facing playlists. That's fans, that's artists, that's labels. And again, it'll be all under the same kind of rules and conditions that Bandcamp currently works. You know, people won't be able to come along and just listen willy-nilly over and over to your playlist. Eventually, they're going to have to buy, and we're going to make our playlist look and act in a way where hopefully fans will engage, and they'll use that playlist that you've made to then go and make a bunch of purchases. So hopefully that's coming by the end of the year. And just knowing, as I mentioned earlier, that a third of the sales on the site come from fans telling other fans, this is great. I think fans sharing playlists will only increase that. So here's a feature that I was about to say we're launching next week, but apparently we just launched it. So if you have a Bandcamp account, you can now take advantage of listening parties. Soft launch right now. We won't properly announce it until August, so you are literally the first people to hear about this. It's a little bit like Bandcamp Live if you've used it, but it's just audio and chat. And the idea is that you can set a time and a date for people to come and listen to an album, presumably before it's come out, usually during the pre-order phase, and capture your fans' attention and hopefully have them dive in and buy the album. So it's super easy to do. Host chooses the album, sets a time and date, writes a little blurb, and Bandcamp notifies all of that artist's fans, hey, there's this listening party, why don't you come along and listen? And while listening, obviously, fans can chat with the artist, they can shop merch, they can wish list, they can purchase, they can follow, all of that good stuff. So why do we think this is useful? Well, not only will it be a way of an exciting little way to preview an album with your dedicated fans, but I think also a nice low effort, because it's easy to set up, but high impact way to boost your pre-orders. Fun fact, 30% of the sales on Bandcamp are for pre-orders. So clearly the kinds of fans that use Bandcamp are the kind that want to support early. And I think that having a listening party is only going to make that number jump and could potentially also make your pre-order numbers jump too. We all know that releasing music should be a celebration, but oftentimes when something's launched online, somebody somewhere in an office is pushing a button and oh, there it is. So this is a nice way to, connect with your fans, have them listen to a record, capture their attention, and hopefully get them to buy your record before it comes out. It's a bummer also, obviously, to work on an album for like years or months or decades, depending on whoever you are, and then have your record go live and crickets. You're waiting for that one blog, you hope to write something nice, or maybe the Bandcamp Daily, here's a great way to field initial feedback from your fans in a place that they know where your music is, Bandcamp, and get that initial bit of feedback right away. So yeah, it launched. I was supposed to say next week, but it just launched today. Full announce is in August. And again, if you want more info on this, Amit and I are available to help you out. But it's not something that we're kind of slow rolling out. It is available for everybody across the site right now. Something else we've been working on is localizing the site in a whole bunch of languages where that we haven't been covering before. So Japanese, German, Mexican Spanish, Brazilian Portuguese. We've worked on some of the fan-facing pages already and continue to do that along with artist and label-facing pages, which we hope to have done by the end of the year. In addition, we're going to have editorial in different languages, and what we're looking to do there is take some of the editorial that's in the Bandcamp Daily that you already know and love and translate that for fans in other countries. And then also we'll be hiring people in those countries to cover their communities and their emerging scenes and bring their news about new albums and new scenes and new bands and new labels and whatever to the Bandcamp Daily that you can read too. Also, next year, in order to accommodate all of this, we'll be working on different payment systems because apparently not everybody loves PayPal around the world. It isn't that widely accepted in other countries, so we'll be working on that. This is all good news for everybody because 50% of the purchases on Bandcamp are cross-border. Fans on Bandcamp are those, curious types that want to learn about and buy music from other countries. So the more bands and the more artists and the more labels we bring in from other countries, we'll bring in more fans, etc. So this is good news for everybody. So coming a little bit later in Q3, I don't know if anybody has been to a little presentation before, but this is where you pull out the Rotten Tomatoes and start throwing them at me. But I promise you that this actual feature is going to happen. It's called Scheduled Releases. I see Andy from Polyvinyl has been here before and knows that I've promised this, but Dan, it's happening, right? Okay, so it is happening. So you will be able to set the time and date at which your album goes live on Bandcamp as you upload it to the site. That is something we promised a while back, but it's definitely happening this time. Put your Rotten Tomatoes away. Also, weight-based shipping, the ability to set shipping tiers based on weight and have them apply directly to your shipping methods coming too. And something we're calling Bandcamp Backstage, a nice educational component to the site, tips and tricks for artists and labels, by artists and labels who are already successful on the site. So watch out for that pretty soon too. And before the year is out in Q4, the ability to purchase shipping labels directly through Bandcamp, some API improvements, and lots more Epic stuff, which is what Bert here is about to tell us about.
Thanks, Andrew. Love talking about Epic stuff. Probably many of you here are aware that Bandcamp was purchased by Epic about a year ago, maybe not. Maybe you know what Epic is or you don't. All good. Hopefully you walk out of here with a little bit of knowledge about that. Epic began as a gaming company and is really in a transition now to be a platform and a tooling company. And just like Bandcamp, we're committed to supporting creators of all kinds, and musicians, of course, being really important creators in the community. Why is that important to all of you? We want to provide the tools, the access, the funding, the support so that you can take your fans off of 2D platforms that they're going to inevitably start leaving into the 3D platforms where they are going to. I'll use a little strong language. Sorry, Andrew. We're building the metaverse. And that I can feel the eye rolls when you say that. And when we say the metaverse, we don't mean like $3,000 ski goggles that you strap to your face so that you can be immersed in your email. I don't know who wants to do that. We mean open, scalable, social 3D experiences, and music is just perfect for that. So what I'll do is just quickly walk you through a few of those tools that we're providing, and if you have more questions, if you feel daunted, it's all good. It's a very big and complex space, and we're here to help. Please come up to me afterwards. Next. Oh, thank you. I'll go actually in a reverse order on this slide. So one thing you may have heard of that Epic is responsible for is Fortnite. It is the largest video game on the planet. And it is more than just a game where you run around and blast your friends. It is actually now an ecosystem that has thousands and soon hundreds of thousands of different games inside of it. Probably many of you have heard of Roblox, have heard of Minecraft, have heard of Fortnite. Current estimates are in the billions of people engaging in those platforms. So you have to be there. Your artists want you to be there. And we can provide the pathways to that. Fortnite itself has over 500 million registered account holders, so that's a lot of ears and eyeballs. If I go to the second from the top, and the shiny logo on my shirt is the Unreal Engine and editor, and that is like WordPress or Squarespace for 3D worlds. And that is free. Anyone can access it right now. We don't take a cut until you've made significant money, and then it's a nominal fee so we can run the platform. But the top right corner is a Radiohead experience built in the Unreal editor that we partnered with them, and we actually funded through a program we call Epic Mega Grants. So you may be asking yourself, how the hell do I do this? Where do I get the money for this? Where do I get the people that are experts in this? We can help you do all of that. And then the third one, the Fab Marketplace, we've just recently announced, and just like selling pickaxes and jeans to gold miners, we need to sell the tools to people that are going to build these experiences. And that's what the Fab Marketplace is all about. Imagine being able to sell a sync license directly to someone who's building a game, right? These are 5, 6, 7-figure deals that people are doing. So this is real money, real engagement, and we'll be looking to provide all those tools for folks as we go forward. And on to Joe for the Bandcamp Daily.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to put Bert on the spot and say that hopefully one day, in a couple years at A2IM, I'll be talking about Bandcamp Daily's interactive curated 3D experiences, which I'm very genuinely excited to get started on. But for now, I'll just tell you what Bandcamp Daily has done over the course of the last few months. So if you're unfamiliar with Bandcamp Daily, we are Bandcamp's editorial platform. You can see our mission statement on the board. Bandcamp Daily exists to shine a light on artists all over the world who are using Bandcamp to connect with fans. And we've been doing that for 7 years now, which is wild for me to think about. In those 7 years, we've published more than 7,000 stories. You can do the loose math on how many a year that is. So with my few minutes today, I just wanted to run through some of the most read stories on Bandcamp Daily so far in 2023. The reason that I'm doing this is because I want to give you all an insight into what kinds of things excite our readers and what kinds of things make them want to explore and spend money. And so I'll try to give, with each of these examples, a little hook on how you can think about positioning your artist labels or whatever you got going on to resonate with something that our readers are looking for. So, first one up, the most read story so far this year is Rare Shoegaze Gems from All Eras Unearthed. And you can't see it, but those feet actually move. It's an animated GIF, which I'm sure would infuriate Slowdive. So this was our first big hit story in January 2023. And I've said this before, if you've heard me talk about the Daily before, lists of artists grouped together in terms of page views, reach, and sales does exponentially more than just a standalone feature on a single artist. And I know that especially coming from a music journalism background, you're sort of thinking we have to get this one pitch, this single pitch on this one artist that I'm working. It's not going to reach as far as a list with a bunch of artists in it will, like this shoegaze piece did. And I'll tell you why. If you've ever seen a story on the Bandcamp Daily, you'll see that it's got these embedded players in it. Those are great. They let you listen to the music as you're reading the article. But they also do something that's very cool. Each of those embedded players that correspond to a certain artist in the piece will send an email to fans of those artists saying, hey, Bandcamp Daily just wrote about this artist that you follow or have purchased from on the Daily. So imagine you're working with a small-size shoegaze fan, and they get placed in a list that also contains Slowdive, and everyone who has purchased a Slowdive record or follows Slowdive on Bandcamp Daily suddenly gets an email saying that we wrote about them. All those Slowdive fans are going to come over, read Rare Shoegaze Gems from All Eras Unearthed, buy whatever Slowdive they don't have, and think, let me see what other bands are in this list, and scroll down and potentially discover a band or artist that you're working with. The other great thing about this list is that it doesn't just focus on the big hits. There were a lot of hidden gems, a lot of rarities in here that even the biggest shoegaze heads wouldn't know about. And that's another reason why people come to Bandcamp Daily. They want to discover something new, and the fact that this piece performed so well, it's a familiar genre with a spin on it that will appeal to the heads, as it were. And so that's no surprise, that's one of our biggest stories so far this year. All right, another big one is legendary South African jazz label As Shams gets a second life. People always seem a little bit surprised when I say this, but Bandcamp has a really strong, committed, and dedicated jazz audience, and especially global jazz. This piece took off the minute that we posted it. And for me, when I was looking at this, you know, we've got a bunch of great albums from a genre people know in an area that they don't. And as you're scrolling through the piece, all of these albums have amazing cover art, and this As Shams label has the vinyl available for all of it too. So as I'm scrolling through this thing, I can feel my wallet actively getting lighter because I'm like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And we make it really easy for readers to purchase from Bandcamp Daily as well. In that same embedded player that triggers the email I was talking about, we've also got we put the merch images right there in the right rail in the story, and we put a real big buy album, so it makes it really easy for you to smash that button and add and purchase the album while you're on the page, which, to go back to something Andrew said earlier, is all the more reason for you to have great-looking merch photos, and many of them on your album pages. Those are going to get pulled into a Bandcamp Daily story like this one. It's going to show up in the right rail and hopefully sell a lot of records. I know that we sold out of at least 2 titles that featured in this a couple days after we posted it. And then Houston Takes a Chance on Weird Music was another heavy hitter for us. This piece was genre agnostic, so industrial hip-hop, free jazz, psych rock, and noise all joined hands in this piece about the music scene in Houston, which was our most read story in the month of March. The writer told it in a conversational style, and the piece surfaced artists doing daring and experimental things in the South at a time when it's hard to say nice about things about certain places in the South. This was another great example of the fact that people who come to Bandcamp aren't necessarily stuck in one lane. And so this piece truly, if you look it up later, you're going to get artists from all across the board and from many different genres. But the fact that it performed so well just showed that there's a curiosity for stories like this on the Daily. And so then, now that we've had a bunch of unfamiliar faces, we'll end with another huge hit for us. Black Thought and Leon Michaels discuss the deeply personal, glorious game. This was a record that came out on Big Crown. It was Black Thought and L. Michaels' affair. And our writer Blake Gillespie did this, and we said, just get them both on the phone and just talk for like an hour and a half, and let's just run it as a Q&A. And this piece was a huge hit for us in the month of April. And again, this speaks to a different side of the Bandcamp Daily audience. This is for longtime music fans who don't just want a quick hit or a 200-word thing. They want to read 2 genuine legends in the game just talk about their experiences in the industry for a long time. I think this piece came in at 4,000 or 5,000 words, and it was our biggest hit in the month of April. So if you have artists like this who have been in the industry for a while, who have a long story, who are looking for people to tell it to, Bandcamp Daily readers are there to hear it. So that's just an overview of 4 pieces that were the biggest hits in Bandcamp Daily so far in 2023. And my email address is just jedward@bandcamp.com. You can talk to me after or just drop me a line. I do open and read every single email. I swear to God, even if I don't have time to write back, I will read them. And I think that's back to you, Andrew.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, well, that is about it. The clock says 16 minutes and 36 seconds, which is about the amount of time you'll have to chat with us. Bandcamp folks in the crowd, put your hands in the air again. All right, so you got these 3 folks and us 3 folks to ask questions if you would like to, or introduce yourselves or whatever. Or as mentioned, Andrew at bandcamp.com, Amit, A-M-I-T, at bandcamp.com. We are more than happy to answer your questions, set up Zoom calls, and walk you through best ways to use Bandcamp. We also have these handy flyers which have a few tips on putting Bandcamp to use and a few of the stats I mentioned. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Come say hi.